What if a forgotten line of code could turn a world of invisible money into a single glittering vault? Ava lived in a cramped apartment filled with books and old computers, and every day she sorted through forgotten files, hoping one would turn into a story, a piece of history, something that mattered. She had spent years teaching about early digital currencies, but now her lectures fell flat. The market was full of shiny promises and no real treasure. Ava's heart was heavy with the weight of a world that cared more for speculation than for truth. One rainy afternoon, she found a dusty notebook in the back of a storage unit. Inside were scribbles about a project called the Lamina Protocol, a forgotten design that promised to lock a digital coin's value to real gold. Ava felt a spark. She had read about the coin TerraGold, which claimed to be stable because it was backed by real assets. The only proof had always been a few glossy statements from its founders. Ava wondered what if the code that promised that proof was a hidden door, a back door that led to something real. She set the notebook beside her laptop, the screen flickering in the dim light. Her fingers trembled as she typed. The code was simple, almost child's play. A single line, a function called that, when executed, would return a string of coordinates. Ava hesitated but pressed enter. The terminal answered with 22 Dries 3117.0, 17.0, N123 Dries 42.0, 72.0, Those were not random numbers. They were latitude and longitude, a place on Earth. She stared at them until her vision blurred. The Lamina Protocol wasn't a hidden function. It was a key. Ava's heart pounded. If those coordinates led to a physical location, maybe the vault that was supposed to hold TerraGold's gold was there. And if true, then every other stablecoin that claimed backing but had no proof would look like a lie. The ordinary world she knew was about to unravel. She called her old friend Leon, a former programmer who now taught at a community college. Leon answered after the second ring. "What's up?" she asked. Ava explained the code, the coordinates, the idea that a coin could be backed by gold in a secret warehouse in Singapore. Leon listened, her eyes widening. "You're saying the whole industry is on a sham?" she whispered. "And you think you've got the evidence?" Ava nodded. "It's the only thing that makes sense." "I can't just keep it to myself," Leanne sighed. "I'll help you look into it, but this is dangerous. The people who built TerraGold won't let anyone expose this." He imagined the people she was about to confront, the founders of TerraGold, slick men in suits who had turned their coins into a gold-backed illusion, and the shadowy group of rival crypto entrepreneurs led by a woman named Marin who wanted to seize the vault to prove their own legitimacy. Ava had no idea how powerful they were, but she could feel the pressure building like a storm. She started small. 9. Using the coordinates, she traced a path across maps, finding a discreet warehouse marked only as Industrial Zone 4, Singapore. Her phone screen showed a blinking dot. She had to be careful. The next morning, she traveled to the city with a rented bike, her bag heavy with a small camera and a USB drive. She watched the warehouse's exterior. It was unremarkable. Steel walls, a low fence, a gate that looked as ordinary as a grocery store's. Inside, the air smelled of dust and old machinery. Ava's flashlight cut a pale line across the concrete floor. She felt the weight of every eye in the world watching her. She pressed the USB into a locked drawer. Metal creaked. Inside, she found a stack of gold bars, each stamped with a serial number that matched TerraGold's ledger. She held a bar between her fingers, the cold weight grounding her. The vault was real, and TerraGold was indeed 100% backed by gold. Ava's stomach turned. She could prove it to the world, expose the fraud, and change everything. The moment she pressed the back door of the drawer, she heard a click. The warehouse door, hidden behind a curtain of vines, swung open. A man in a dark coat stepped out, his eyes flickering with menace. "You shouldn't have come here," he said, his voice low. Ava's pulse raced. She grabbed the gold bar and ran, but the man was faster. He grabbed her wrist. "The system has a flaw," he whispered, a grim smile forming. "You cannot keep this forever. The vault is connected to the network. If anyone tries to move or trace the gold, the system will flag it." "You're playing with fire." Ava thought of Leanne, of Marin, of the coin's founders. She thought of the thousands of people who used TerraGold, trusting that every coin was real. She felt the weight of her own conscience. The gold was a miracle, but it also revealed a vulnerability. If it could be seized, the system would crumble. Ava's discovery was both a blessing and a curse. She fled the warehouse with the gold bar, the man's footsteps echoing behind her. She ran until the city skyline blurred past. She found Leon in a quiet cafe, their conversation interrupted by the sirens of a police chase. Leanne looked at Ava with eyes that said she knew more than she let on. Marin's not the only one interested, Leanne murmured. The founders of TerraGold have their own agents. They're on to you. Ava swallowed. He had always wanted to tell the truth, but now she realized the truth could be a weapon. The people who had built TerraGold could use the gold to prove their coin was real and crush their critics. Marin, on the other hand, could seize the vault, sell the gold, and create a new, even more dominant stablecoin. Ava was caught between two forces that both wanted the same thing, but for different reasons. She sat in her apartment, the gold bar on her kitchen counter, its weight a reminder of her discovery. Bone. She thought of all the people who had lost money to the promises of speculation. She thought of her own past, the countless hours she spent piecing together old stories, the hope that one day someone would listen. Ava's mind raced. She could post the proof online, but then the vault would be compromised, the system would be shut down, and people would lose trust in all stable coins. Or she could keep the gold a secret, protecting the system's stability, but she would be complicit in a lie. Decision made her heart beat like a drum. She went to her laptop, opened a blank document, and wrote, "What if you had to choose between truth and security? What if the truth could break the system that protects us? What if we lose what we trust, but we also gain what we truly deserve?" In the distance, a delivery drone whirred past, a symbol of the new age of finance. Ava felt a chill, then a resolve. She called Leon. "We need to do this carefully," she said. We'll expose the truth, but we'll do it in a way that doesn't trigger the system." They plotted a plan. Ava would leak a series of anonymous emails to major news outlets, a cryptic code that would show the gold's existence but would not directly reveal the coordinates. Leon would hack into the system to create a small glitch, a test that would show that TerraGold's blockchain was capable of revealing its physical backing. They would do it on a day when the market was calm, so the shock would not cause a crash. The day came. Ava sat in front of her laptop, a trembling finger ready to hit send. She remembered the warehouse, the weight of the gold bar, the man's voice, the sense of being hunted. She hit send. The emails went out. Within hours, headlines exploded. Gold-backed stablecoin exposed. What's real in the crypto world? People cheered. People gasped. And social media accounts were flooded with accusations. TerraGold's founders posted a statement. "We are proud to announce that our coins are fully backed by gold. Our vault is secure, and we will not be compromised." The system did not shut down. Instead, it adjusted. A new protocol was introduced, a public ledger that listed the gold bars and their location. The vault's coordinates were not released, but the proof was visible. Investors had a new sense of security, and the market steady. Ava walked the streets at night, feeling a strange relief. She had exposed the truth, but she had also preserved the system's stability. She knew the people she had chased would never forget her. She saw Marin's face in the newspaper, angry and determined. She saw the founders of TerraGold watching her, eyes wary but respectful. The world had changed, but she wondered what it meant for people's trust. She sat back in her apartment, the gold bar on the counter. She thought of the future, of how people would build new systems, how truth and security would always be in tension. She realized that the biggest risk was not in the technology, but in the hearts that used it. If the people who created it had their own hidden agendas, the system would be compromised. If those who used it were greedy, they would abuse it. Ava saw that the balance was delicate and the future would depend on many hands. Morning. She closed her eyes and whispered to herself, "What if the real gold is not in the vault, but in the honesty of those who use it?" The wind brushed the windows and the city hummed like a living organism. Ava smiled, a quiet smile, and understood that sometimes the greatest discovery is not a hidden back door, but the courage to choose what is right when the world offers a temptation to ignore it. The story ended not with a bang, but with a quiet realization that truth, when shared responsibly, can change everything without breaking everything.
Found this interesting? Subscribe to the channel. Give this video a like, share it out, and drop your questions or ideas in the comments. Until our next adventure.